A deeply disturbing letter has surfaced from Lincoln County, Oregon, allegedly circulated among MAGA supporters, outlining a plan referred to as the Brown Roundup Part 1. This letter instructs individuals to target people they suspect of being in the country illegally, without any proof, and to document their names, license plates, and other identifying details. It further emphasizes preparing these records for a potential Department of Homeland Security hotline under a future Trump administration, where undocumented immigrants could be reported en masse. This letter goes beyond mere surveillance. It advocates a systemic effort to racially profile individuals based on their appearance, particularly targeting brown people. The language in the letter eerily mirrors historical precedents of civilian surveillance and targeting, such as Nazi Germany's treatment of Jews leading up to World War II. It calls for monitoring people at churches, schools, shopping centers, and even construction sites or landscaping businesses. Here is a direct excerpt from the letter. Starting the last of January of 2025, this nation will commence the largest roundup of brown illegals in our history. How can you help? Start identifying those folks who you suspect are here in our country on an illegal basis. Church. Sit in your church's parking lot and write down the license plate numbers of all the brown folks. This is extremely important if you attend a Catholic church. Many brown folks are Catholic. Shopping. Again, if you see a bunch of brown folks getting in a car, write down the plate number. Schools. As you wait in line to pick up the kiddos or the grandkiddos, if you see brown folks, record the plate number. Your neighborhood. You know where the brown folks live in your neighborhood. Again, record the plate numbers. If you see a construction crew or landscaping crew who have brown folks, write down the name of the company and a phone number. The language here is chilling. It paints a picture of a society where neighbors are spying on neighbors, fueling suspicion and fear. It also highlights how deeply ingrained racism has become in certain segments of the population. What's worse, the letter even goes as far as to suggest potential financial benefits for those participating in these acts of racial profiling. Another excerpt reads, "As you know, at no point during the home purchase process is a potential homebuyer required to show citizenship status. So, when the brown folks are rounded up, their properties will be confiscated, just like the properties belonging to the Japanese in California were during World War II. So, within a short term, there will be a whole lot of homes on the market for us white folks to purchase, and with the inventory so high, the prices will be very low and affordable." This section explicitly compares the proposed actions to the internment and property confiscation of Japanese Americans during World War II, a dark chapter in American history that has since been condemned. Yet this letter not only references that period but presents it as a model for how to deal with undocumented immigrants today. At first glance, this letter might seem too extreme to be real, perhaps an effort by critics to make MAGA supporters look bad. But given the credibility of outlets such as Mother Jones and Salon.com, which have covered the story, it appears to be legitimate. Journalists and trusted publications have vetted and verified the details, leaving little room for doubt about its authenticity. Even if there's any chance this letter could be a hoax, we cannot ignore the broader context. Incidents across the country suggest that this type of mindset is not uncommon. For example, in Colorado in December, a cab driver verbally and physically attacked a local news reporter, Jaron Alex, who is a person of color. The attacker reportedly screamed, "This is Trump's America," before following the reporter for 40 miles, eventually grabbing and strangling him to the point of near unconsciousness. This aggression wasn't random. It was fueled by racial animosity and emboldened by a political climate that encourages hostility toward non-white individuals. Such events demonstrate that these hateful sentiments are not confined to words. They manifest in real-life violence. The rise in racial animus following Trump's re-election cannot be overstated. A recent New York Times report by Stuart Thompson detailed 47 hours of MAGA content viewed on Rumble, a right-wing video platform. Instead of celebratory messaging, the videos were filled with anger and resentment toward perceived enemies. This overwhelming hostility reveals a deeper issue. These groups don't just seek political power. They want domination and revenge against those they view as different. This cultural shift toward open racism has also been experienced personally by journalists and commentators. Many, including myself, have faced a surge in threats, phone calls, emails, and messages targeting not just us but also our families. The language is violent and explicit, often calling for harm or even death. While threats are unfortunately common in political commentary, the sheer volume and intensity have reached unprecedented levels. The most alarming aspect is that these sentiments don't seem to stem from desperation or loss. They arise even after MAGA supporters have secured political victories. With control of the presidency, Congress, and other branches of government, you might expect triumph, not bitterness. Yet the opposite is true. Their anger has only intensified, as though winning has validated their most extreme beliefs and actions. Trump's influence has emboldened these individuals, giving them permission to publicly display the prejudices they once hid. They feel empowered to embrace intolerance, whether targeting people of color, immigrants, or anyone who disagrees with them politically. And the result is not just hateful rhetoric but real-world consequences: harassment, violence, and potentially even deaths. This letter out of Lincoln County serves as a dire warning. Whether or not it's an isolated incident, it reflects a broader movement that seeks to undermine democracy, civil rights, and basic human dignity. If such rhetoric and behavior continue to escalate, the consequences could be catastrophic. This moment in history demands vigilance. We must call out and condemn these actions wherever they arise. Remaining silent or dismissing them as fringe behavior is not an option. The stakes are simply too high.